What's up guys, Jackal here with another Breaking the Build. Today I'm going to bring you my Bear on Head build. This is a self-cast Bladefall Chieftain build, converting physical damage to cold damage and cold to fire. This build scales its damage through a lot of critical strike chance and critical strike multiplier. Now you may be wondering, why is a self-cast crit Bladefall build called Bear on Head? Well, I have a bear on my head. Okay, for this build I'm using a 6-link staff that I crafted myself. It's got percent cold damage, flat cold damage, percent cast speed, and increased spell damage. In the staff I'm using Bladefall, faster casting, fire penetration, iron will, increased critical damage, and increased critical strikes. And I have quite a lot of quality spread out amongst these gems. There are some quality gems I just found. As for uniques that really make the build work, I'm using Voidbringers for the insane amount of critical strike chance, as well as nice energy shield and really high energy shield gained on kill, which can be quite helpful. I'm using Doriani's Invitation Heavy Belt. Now, this belt is absolutely perfect for the build. On top of giving great resistances and a huge chunk of armor, it gives 28% fire damage, or at least my copy gives 28%. It gives fire damage leached as life, and it gives a higher chance to ignite while using flasks. I'm also using the Mute Wind Whisper Step, which is another perfect addition for this build. It adds more flat cold damage to spells, and it gives you critical strike chance on top of some resistance, movement speed, and unaffected by chilled ground, which will really help you get through some of those maps faster. Now I'm converting all cold damage to fire using the Pyre Ring. And this is a crit build, so obviously I'll be burning, and the extra burning damage on this ring is really nice. As well as the ignited enemies being destroyed can be helpful for undead with necromancers and things like that. Now, the namesake of the build, where I get the build name from, is this Starkonja's head. This headpiece gives you very nice life, plus 100 life, and really nice critical strike chance, which you can't normally get on a headpiece. The dexterity on it is really great because you need as much dexterity as you can get for leveling up Bladefall. And more importantly than all of that, it's a bear on my head. I saw that the Ascendancy Chieftain had a bear on his head, so I needed one on mine. Okay, let's talk about the Ascendancy Tree. With the first 2 points after you beat the Labyrinth on normal, you can pick up Tahoa, Forest's Strength. Please forgive the pronunciations, I am not Karui. Now this gives you armor, resist all, reduced mana cost of skills, and increased strength. So it just gives you a bunch of great overall stats that you're going to want while leveling, because it takes a lot of pressure off of you to keep upgrading your gear. With the next 2 points, you can get Ngamahu's Flames Advance. Ngamahu Flame Advances. Whatever. 15% chance to ignite. 35% increased damage against burning enemies. That's pretty great for any fire build, especially crit builds. And with the last 2 points, you pick up Hinakora Death's Fury. Now this gives you fire damage leached as life, which you were already getting from the belt, fire penetration, which you were already getting from the fire pen gem, and 20% physical damage as extra fire damage. So even more physical to fire conversion, which is great for this build. Alright, let's talk about the rest of the passive tree. Now, my passive tree spans from Marauder all the way through Templar and up into Witch. Now, I focused on getting as much life as I could from things like Warrior's Blood, Heart of the Warrior, Barbarism, and then up into Templar I got Tireless, Now, Tireless is really great in this build because I'm running Voidbringers, which increases the mana cost of your skills tremendously. So, things like Tireless as well as Righteous Decree, which I also got, are going to help a lot with that mana cost. Now, in Templar, I also picked up Discipline and Training for some life, as well as Devotion. As far as damage nodes, I just tried to pick up as much fire and spell damage as I could. I picked up Arsonist for that very nice percentage fire damage as well as life regeneration. Throughout the Templar tree, which is where you're going to get most of your damage, I picked up Retribution, I picked up Amplify, Elementalist, Light of Divinity, and then I also made sure that I picked up the +1 to maximum power charges and the +1 to endurance charges, both in Templar and in Marauder. So off your tree you get +2 to the endurance charges. Then as you're going up to Witch, you can get Purity of Flesh, which is great life, as well as that hard to get Chaos Resistance. And after that you pick up Arcane Potency. Now this is a critical strike casting build, so Arcane Potency is perfect, and you go past it anyway to get to Witch. In the Witch tree itself, I made sure to pick up the Cruel Preparation for the extra life and resist all, as well as Annihilation and the 3 crit nodes below it for some very, very nice critical strike chance and critical strike multiplier for spells. In all 3, Witch, Templar, and Marauder, I got the Jewel Socket, and as for Jewels, I focused on fire damage and critical strike chance. Okay, so overall this build is very nice, high clear speed and great single target damage. There are some downsides, however. It's a very high maintenance build. You have to self-cast your Enduring Cry, as well as I'm self-casting Molten Shell for defenses. The offense is also very high maintenance in that Voidbringers are increasing your mana costs by so much that you have to run a Mana Flask. A Divine Mana Flask seems to regenerate about as much as the 6-link Bladefall costs, so when I start casting I instantly pop the flask, and I do that for every pack. And of course Divine Mana Flask is very easy to keep the charges up. Other than that, the build is very fun. The only other downside I've found while mapping is that you cannot run Reflect maps, especially Elemental Reflect. You will very quickly find your crit damage will one-shot you. So other than that, the maps you see me running in the background are Tier 6. I'm rolling all the rest of the mods on them and running them with no problem. And the build seems like it could transition into very high maps rather easily. I hope you've really enjoyed this build. Please give me any feedback you have about the build itself or about this video in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
My mana is gone. My mana is gone. I give you to my